I guess no. I think I just don't make a good first impression. I think
I
I'm
disagree.
probably like a sparkler. I think I'm too much of a burn. I'm excessive. I'm like
It's a
a
good
Excess
burn.
burn.
Molotov cocktail. I don't know.
Here's my problems. Here's my depth.
I met you and thought you were cool. I was like,
But you're also crazy.
This is the After Dinner Mint, a podcast of stories I tell you at dinner. Think of the mint as the stories you tell after you've been kicked out of the restaurant, holding your mint, standing in the street, telling more honest stories with your friends than you did at the table. It's not a sermon. It's not advice. It's not self-help. We're processing what we're learning about faith and life, honestly, in community, to encourage you to do that with your God and your community.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the After Dinner Mint. It's great to be in your earbuds. I'm here today with Bec, Britt and Rachel. Can you guys say hi?
Hey.
I'll get you guys to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you. Start with you, Britt.
Oh, hi. Yes, I am Brittany. I'm an accredited mental health social worker working in private practice and doing a little bit of work at the uni at the moment. And I have 3 little kids. I'm married, and that's probably me.
Awesome. All right, Bec.
Awkward every single time. Hi, I'm Bec. I'm the founder of Stories I Tell You at Dinner. I trained as a clinical psych, but currently not working anywhere, working in the home, playing with the magazine. Life is great. I have a husband and 3 children. 3 boys.
Yep.
No pets.
Awesome. Same as last time.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, great to hear from you. And Rach.
Lovely. Hello. I am Rachel, and I am an emergency nurse. I also have 3 kids because it was a prerequisite for the podcast. And a husband.
Correction, Maddy.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, and I'm busy. I have children and a job and a husband, and we're not getting any better at this.
So
people are like,
my general vibe is just that, like, we're all doing stuff. That's great.
Yeah, we got stuff.
So I'm Maddy. I'm also doing stuff. I've got kids too. I've got 2 kids and I've got a dog. So that's 3.
That is 3.
But dependents, 3 dependents.
Absolutely.
There you go. And then married to Robbie, I'm just finishing the final unit of my master's degree at Trinity, which is amazing, and working at church in the communities and kids kind of programs. Now, today's episode is kind of born out of a few conversations that I had recently with people who have struggled to mingle before and after church. So this is a pretty unique crowd. Well, in the sense that we're at church in a crowd every single week. We're having to connect with people that we don't always know well or don't always naturally get along with. And sometimes it's easy to feel lonely. So this was an episode talking about loneliness, people feeling lonely in a crowd. So you could be a young mum struggling to get a conversation in with kids hanging off you. Or perhaps you're just someone who struggles in a crowd from a social point of view or a hearing point of view. It's hard to hear in those situations. And even those who maybe have tended church for a long time, but the church has undergone some massive changes and suddenly there's so many new faces, you don't even know who to talk to. So this episode is just to really discuss that issue, feeling a bit lost, a bit lonely, and a bit disconnected at church. So my first question I'm going to throw out to Bec this time. You can answer it first. Woohoo! Can you think of an example when you have felt lonely or disconnected in a crowd of people?
Yes. I was thinking of this recently. So when I was pregnant with my first baby, I was studying and I was working. And I was doing both full-time because I'm a special kind of maniac. So I was doing both of those things. And I continued to commute. And then we bought a house out in the suburbs, but we continued to commute to the city church that I was going to. But then we had a baby and he just didn't like being going to night church and he'd scream for 30 minutes. So we went to a local church. And at that point, it kind of hit me that actually I didn't know anyone, I didn't know anyone with children within 40 minutes of where I lived. So all the people I knew who had kids were lovely at the women's Bible study, were all 45 minutes away. And that's impossible when you have a baby. And I had a cousin who'd also had a baby, but she'd gone back to work full time. And I literally had this moment where I was like, oh, I'm actually really lonely. I don't know anyone.
Mm.
I mean, I can talk to how I dug myself out of that, but that's basically how I ended up in that particular season of loneliness. But I think that was kind of doing a couple of transitions at once. If I look back at it, like my oldest is 8 now.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a huge transition period. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. What about you, Rach?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question because I actually I still really struggle with this now, but I think because I'm a very extroverted person, people assume that I'm never lonely because I'm just always with people. But I think often, particularly in church, in attending things, often I think people, and I know this because people have told me this in what I think they think is a compliment, but it actually sometimes isn't, is that they invite me to things because they know I'll talk to people, because they know, like a little bit like we'll invite her because she's the entertainment a little bit. And so then I feel like I have to perform and talk to people and be the lively person. And so then it's not necessarily a genuine connection. Like I'm there and I'm talking. And I feel that a lot. I feel that even now, sometimes at church when you like sort of putting on the show that people like to see and people expect from you as a extroverted person, but often I'm not actually really connecting with people.
So like lots of like kind of little shallow interactions rather than any particular deeper
Yeah,
chat or
definitely.
anything like that.
Yeah. And I think specifically having attended things where I was like, I know I was invited to this because lots of people don't know each other and I'm good at talking to people. And so they're like, she'll come and she'll like smooth things out a little bit and make it less awkward because people, yeah, dance, monkey, dance.
Britt?
Yeah, I relate to the dance monkey vibes. Not that I think people particularly invite me places to do that, but I feel the compulsion within myself to do that. And
Same.
I will recognize, oh, this person's
Same.
not connected and try work out how to do that. But I actually find we have a format at our church where there's like a break where you can kind of like chat to people within the service. And I have had little kids for so long that always I was just so busy in that time, either because my kids would not allow me to have any adult conversations because I would interrupt them so many times that I just kind of just stopped trying, or I was trying to deliver them to different programs they were going to. And so as that has begun to lift, and I maybe didn't always need to be doing that, I realized, this makes me feel lonely, this period, because I don't know, I'm like looking for a role to play
Yes.
to navigate that social situation. And when it's just like open-ended, I guess before and after church too, where it's like, there's no structure to what that should take. It just should be community. And I can have small talk with lots of people. I don't find that side hard, but I don't find it particularly satisfying to have loads and loads of small talk. And probably, I don't know, I've spoken to a few friends who've said like they kind of crave a deeper conversation. So that's what they find difficult in those settings. And it's not that I'm craving it to always go deeper, but just that I'm like a bit over it, or don't know where to start or who to go to. I don't know. It's a weird sensation of almost feeling a bit like a deer in headlights. Like, where should I go? Who should I talk to?
Yeah.
And then you
Yes,
kind of
absolutely.
sometimes look for the people that you're really familiar with and go to them. But then internally you're like, I probably should
Yes.
be finding the person that doesn't know anyone.
Mm.
Or look for, I'm not the only person that feels this way. I should try and look for other people that might be in the same boat. But yeah, I agree with you. I think church is a pretty unique setting for this, because I certainly don't find those feelings translate, say, to like school pickup. Like I would literally talk to anyone and I wouldn't care but I might care more in a church setting. I'm not sure why. I don't know if you guys have relate to any of that.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's like there's that you do have almost a mutual obligation at church, right? You do want to feel welcome, but you also need to take a part in being a welcomer and actually fostering that in a community. So then, there's this, that navigating that empty space of social time where you go, I don't know who to talk to, or everyone around me is already talking to people. So how do I break into a conversation without it being awkward? Or so you tend to just, I know for myself, I get into this phase of like, just almost pretend I'm on a job. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, what's up? And I just like kind of like, oh hey, Jill, we'll
Just
keep going over there.
walk
Like,
with purpose somewhere.
walking with
I
purpose.
am purposeful.
And I'm like, I fit in here because I'm walking through here purposefully. So like for me, it was definitely these times of like transition that I found it really hard to connect. And so one of them was just simply that, I was probably going through a similar phase where Beck with like study and work. And also I was just going through a lot of kind of anxiety at the time around other stuff that then I just had no mental energy to connect with multiple people. And I almost didn't know how to connect in there, even though I'm also quite extroverted. So you wouldn't have guessed. So I would find myself busy with jobs, like where I could just get next to someone. And, maybe that's like not actually a bad thing where you can just do a job with someone and you can at least connect with one person that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the other period's definitely been the parenting battle for me, where I've had, one of my kids just cling to me and really like not want to go anywhere without me, but not want me talking to anyone but him. So, just literally like he'll be pulling in my hand and like yelling at me for come with him. And they'll only be happy when we're like 15 meters outside the crowd, outside.
Yeah.
Like somewhere else.
Just the two of us.
just wants me there.
Yeah.
And so I think I found that really challenging because then I was also like, I can't talk to anyone and I have no connections. Like, Bible study's been really good for that. And I do have good friends, like, which I can connect with and who would come along. But I definitely found that challenging in that season. I was like, woof. Yeah. And it's hard. So, yeah. And kind of what do you think are some of the challenges we face in the communities and maybe our culture as well that act as a barrier to making deeper connections in these settings? Rach?
I think just thinking about what you said about Britt about school drop off is that the easy thing about school drop off is you can just like talk about school, talk about kids, whatever. You're like, our kids are in the same class, it's easy. Whereas I think at church, at least for me, particularly as someone who grew up in a Christian family with very Christian, very moral upbringing, there is a certain level of performativeness in which there shouldn't be, but there is of in Christian circles of I kind of need to have the appearance of doing the right thing, or at least looking super spiritual. Like if I don't take communion, will people be watching and going, well, why don't you take communion? Are you like, what's happening? Which is often in my own head, but I think it's definitely a barrier of. And then also you have to be, being vulnerable with people and with your own sin is a hard place to get to in the 15 minutes after church between tea and coffee. Yeah, and you do have to be wise about who you share with as well. You can't just be sharing everything with everyone. That's not a wise thing to do. Britt?
Yeah, I think that's actually the really tricky thing in a church setting that's different from other settings we might go into, is that there's this level of a sense of obligation to one another as brothers and sisters in Christ that there would be this assumed depth. Like you said, when you're at school, you could just talk about what's happening at school. But it's weird that we don't kind of translate that to church, that we could talk about what's happening at church or what's happening in our faith or in what we're reading, what other people are reading, and encourage one another. But that sometimes feels quite awkward to do as well. And there does feel like there needs to be a level of intimacy in your relationship with that. But I'm wondering if maybe like we just should be kind of putting ourselves out there a bit more. I don't know. I think it's tricky in that short space of time, even though, yeah, you are seeing people ideally at least once a week.
Yeah. And I mean, something that I have been thinking about recently is that often, like, you know, people are, and I have done this in different seasons of my life, like when I'm single, like when I was single, like people commute to church. You might not go to church where you live. You might not run into those people any other time in
Yeah.
your week unless you're very intentional to go to that church or you go to a Bible study or something like that. And like, I read something recently that talked about even just to make like a friend, not like a good friend, you need something that was like 94 interactions. Like, you kind of just need reps. And interestingly enough, like I found when we moved to where we are now, not that I would see people from church all the time, but I would see people from church like food shopping or like, oh, hey, like you're also at Spudged. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's that. And then there's that kind of like age segregation in our churches sometimes. If it's a bigger church, the old people with the old people, the babies with the babies. And also, like, part of me wonders if it's a bit inconvenient, you know, like it's kind of slow getting to know people. Making friends just takes longer than you ever think it's going to take. It just, you know, all of it takes work. It's good work, but it takes work.
And I think very, very, very vulnerably, I think a big part of it for me is also pride, because you're like, do it like,
That old chestnut.
yeah, like, do I want to bare my soul? Not, you know, not to everyone, but you're like, do I want to have a deeper conversation with this person? Are they, you know, worthy of my depth? You know, not that I think that, you know, I don't actively go, oh, well, no, I'm better than them, but I think sometimes you go, no, I'm going to keep that to myself, I think. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, that's interesting you say because like I probably feel, you know, I probably do have a sense of pride, but there's also the sense of like you know, when you have a role, you're like, I'm not allowed to be vulnerable in that sense. Or like I'm not allowed to look, you know, like, or it's actually like, no, that's wrong. And we're all sinners. We are all people who struggle with sin or loneliness or, you know, in some way, or, you know, these various feelings that we feel just around trying to connect with people or yeah, it's like it's actually, you know, it's still a barrier to humility in that sense in engaging. And I was thinking about what Bec said earlier, and I think it took me 12 months to form deep connections at the church I'm at. It took me attending for 12 months before I was like, oh, yep, I've got solid friends here. I've got people I can talk to. And I think it kind of goes back to that. What does actually, when someone's feeling lonely at church, what are they actually craving? Is it in the moment them trying to find someone to talk to? Or is it actually them going, I think I just need someone who I can share like more of a spiritual level, like the difficulties in my faith and the difficulties that I'm going through right now. Like, yeah, it's kind of like, what's the symptom?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think, you know, ultimately we want, like what you're saying, ultimately what we want is just someone to be like, yeah, I see you. Like, yep, that's hard. And you often can't do that straight after church. Like, you know, you might do that with someone that you've met in a Bible study and gotten to know, but you probably, like, you can't get to the one person you can connect with without going through the stage of like rocking up to church, not knowing anyone, persevering through really awkward conversations for a long time. Have turned up to 3 churches. I'm going to be here. I'm going to have a conversation with you. This is super awkward. Hello. Do you want to catch up? They're like, no. Do you want to say to someone else? Do you want to catch up? They're like, no. And you have to keep persevering because you're like, you're making friends as an adult is awkward. And it ultimately works out well. I mean, it worked out well for me, but I had to be, I'm not a subtle person, but it took me such a long time.
How many people did you ask to catch up that said no to you?
100. No, I'm kidding.
Like I said, me, I played really hard to get.
Pardon?
I said, yeah, you asked me heaps. I played really hard to get.
Yeah, but also like at the time, I just had one baby and you had 3 under school age and I had no comprehension of that.
That is true.
Like, and I think that was it. I was like, I talked to a lot of people who were friendly,
Yeah.
but like didn't have capacity to be friends right then.
Yeah.
So I think is that you kind of just like, I have to go first. I have to, like, eventually you'll find people that do, you know what I mean? That like
Yeah.
are friendly, but also like have a bit of space for like, oh, I also like, yeah.
Well, friendly with capacity, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the really tricky thing. And I think, yeah, the thing that really helped me kind of feel like I had solid connections in the end was actually just like reading the Bible with a group. There's 4 of
Mm,
us read together. And
mhm.
at the start, none of us disclosed, I guess, wanting deeper relationships, but probably about a year in, someone said something about finding it difficult to necessarily have deeper friendships and finding like, oh, but I always know you guys are somewhere in the room. And so I know I've got a deeper
Yeah.
connection somewhere, even if the
Yeah.
person I'm talking to now isn't, I just don't connect with them at all. We're really not on the same page about most things, or it's just like still in those awkward stages of getting to know people. And that awkward dance of like meeting someone and thinking, oh, we could be friends. And then you almost have to do like this weird pursuit thing, but it's not romantic. It's a friendship pursuit, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
I don't
are
want to
you
be weird
coming
and
on too
needy.
strong? Are you
Yeah.
not? Like, it is a weird thing to
Yeah,
do
it
as
is
an
super weird.
adult. Like, I just don't think it's talked about enough that there's a bit of an art form to like building a relationship with someone, that you start off small and then like you look, often times you look back and go, oh wow, I didn't know this person a year ago and now I know them really well.
Mm.
But like, it does take either being intentional or like just naturally kind of building up intimacy over time and then hopefully decreasing some of the loneliness.
Yeah. I can honestly say it's like reading the Bible with people.
Mm.
Like, just reading the Bible with other women has been such a game changer. Just being like, you see them at least once a fortnight.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's getting reps in,
Yeah.
getting to 94.
Mhm. I reckon it's funny, I reckon some of the people I spoke to a while ago who kind of said that this was an issue, I remember them also saying, yeah, and like our Bible study just hasn't been meeting recently. People haven't been able to come, or like, it's not been rocking up, or like, and so then they're missing the opportunities during the week to connect, and they're coming up on church, and potentially those people that they might have otherwise connected with are away or busy, like, or like have a role in the service somewhere, so they're also then packing up, and so then these people are kind of going, oh, my safe people I haven't been connecting with. Yeah, so it's definitely, it's one of those things as well, that one of the barriers I feel sometimes for making deep connections is just generally our busyness, and also the difficulty sometimes to commit to those regular commitments, like regular weekly catch-ups, or like, I know that our group does fortnightly just because we're a Bible study group that has, it's couples with kids. So we, like, women meet one week and then the blokes meet another week. Like, and
Okay.
we do fortnightly.
That's a good
And that
idea.
just has to work for us at the moment. But it means if you miss one week, you don't catch up with them for like a month, unless you're making an effort to catch up in another way. So it is tricky, but you do have to just really be committed to it. And the busyness of life does come up and just
Yeah.
like make things feel harder. Yeah.
Another unsexy answer is just
I don't know if I want a
finding a
sexy
way
answer to
to serve.
loneliness.
Sorry, I mean, there's a sexy answer. But that
That's a very
sometimes also
different
doesn't work.
podcast.
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Cut that.
Go on.
Completely inappropriate. No, the other answer that I want to say unsexy again, but I
Do it.
can't.
It's fine. Go with it. Go with it.
Whatever. The other answer is actually sometimes just committing to a really small way of like service, or somewhere that you have to be, because getting to know people while you're doing something else, you're like, oh, we're all setting out chairs together. It's a really low whatever, like, you're here, I'm here. We can chat about the weather. We can chat about, like, there's a lot of chairs today. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
serving coffee or standing on the welcome desk or whatever.
Oh, this chair has 3 legs. Look.
This chair has a mustache. Like, there's something to be said for that. If that's a hard season, you're like, you know what? I'm not really looking at myself. I'm kind of, we're both doing this job together. And after all, you might be like, no, this person's got a good sense of humor, or like,
Yeah.
this person laughs at my jokes. Let's be friends.
Mm.
And some people are slow burns. Like some of my best friends, I think back to when I met them, particularly if I met them when I was younger. And I'm like, if I met them now as an adult, I'm not sure we would get to this level of friendship. But they're some of my most treasured people. And because I know what they're like a bit more as an adult in the sense that they maybe just like keep things, people that keep things really surface and so you can't really get in. Like they can be a bit like that. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I got underneath before you could like build up those barriers. But yeah,
I like that you just gestured with your head. You're like, let me in.
Chip, 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 chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how many people have told me that they didn't like me when they first met me? So many people that are really good friends now. I was like, oh, cool, man. Which is good. Like, it's fine. It just means that I was like, I cannot trust my first impression. But now I have very good friends. They're like, they were not a fan early on. But hey, we're friends now. Persevere.
I won't lie. When I met my husband, he just had a resting, serious face. I say it's serious face. You might think of something else, but like, he was just super like serious at all times. And I was like, this guy has no sense of humor. I'm never going to be friends with him.
I really thought you were going to say you didn't like me as well, but I'm glad it was your husband.
No, don't worry. It was just loud.
Just my long range.
It's funny you say that.
It's okay. I married him in the end. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a happy ending.
Rach, I was going to say, are you saying you're a slow burn?
I guess no. I think I just don't make a good first impression. I think
I
I'm probably like a sparkler. I think I'm too much of a burn. I'm excessive. I'm like a
excess burn.
Molotov cocktail. I don't know.
Here's my problems. Here's my depth.
I met you and thought you were cool. I was like,
but you're also crazy.
So it's like a.
I don't know how much help this is to
red
you.
flags.
Like, well, she's in the same boat as me. She makes a terrible first impression.
Yeah. Anyway, the moral of that is now they're my friends, so it's fine.
Yes.
Look, Bec, what you were saying as well was like, actually committing to something, like having a responsibility. I'm actually talking to someone last week who was wanting to get more connected at church. And like one of the advice I was giving her was just, join a serving team.
Yeah.
You have something to give. You have a way to to contribute to the community, and also in a way you get served as well when you join a team, when you get to serve alongside people, because often sometimes just having a joint job, you're like able to converse with people because you have a joint goal and joint project, and you actually find deeper friendships, or just suddenly like you've got someone to talk to when you're there in that crowd. And that might even be that you're not rostered on that week, but you are coming up to the welcoming team and being like, oh, do you need me to help like pack up some signs, or put away some chairs? Like actually engaging in a little bit of a practical way can be a way to help. Or even there's plenty of ways like that you can do that. And the other one is just actually we get really, really, we're in a busy culture, and we also we're fed the lie by our culture that freedom is to have no commitments. Like we're busy already and I need no commitments outside of my work or my my family. Like I'm already busy. Any other commitment is just like going to constrain me so much. But actually in serving in church, you actually you're given these roles that give you a freedom to connect in a way that actually you wouldn't otherwise. And also it's a lovely thing to serve and honor God by serving others. And so, it's kind of a good way to connect, but also get involved in a way that's less awkward of like, I'm just standing here and I don't know who to talk to. What do you think about that, Bec?
Yeah. And I reckon just to piggyback on that, if you are in a hard season, and often what tends to happen is that it's easy to turn inward and then be like, oh no, there's a reason no one wants to be friends with me. It's not because of this transition. It's because actually I'm super weird and I'm just never going to have friends, or whatever it is that you're spiraling about. And then you're watching all the things that you do and interpreting everything that you do as evidence that you will never have friends because you're a weirdo. But serving is actually a really nice way to actually just get the focus off yourself in a nice way. It's that C.S. Lewis thing of, humility is not thinking less of yourself. So you're not being self-critical. It's actually just thinking of yourself less. oh, I don't have to go down that spiral.
Yep.
I need to talk to that person over there because they're new.
Yeah. And I've been thinking a lot about like Ephesians 4, Colossians 3 recently, even like in 1 Corinthians 12. All these passages, Paul are talking about the body of Christ and how each of us being members of one body. And even, in 1 Corinthians it says like, now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit's given a gift for the common good. And it's like, you've got something to contribute to this community. It's going to feel awkward because we're messy human beings and you're a messy human being jumping into a crowd of messy human beings, all trying to be messy human beings together in a nice way. But, you actually you have something to give. And the other thing is actually that you can receive from other people too. Like people are to be like the people at church are to be received as gifts, and so we can be thankful for them, and that can kind of change your perspective a little bit more on like when you're engaging with people. Hey, that person might just be having a really bad day. Let me just come and chat with them, because just you rocking up sometimes can be an encouragement for someone. Like just you being there.
Mm. And sometimes, honestly, in the seasons of little kids, you're like, you'd think I've spent the entire time in the cry room, or like my child's in and out, and I haven't talked to anyone. And sometimes I just think I'm just practicing growing in faithfulness. Like I'm just getting reps in. Like maybe, I don't know if today is going to be a good day, or I'll hear something good, or I'll have an encouraging conversation, or I'll hear part of the sermon. I'm just getting reps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and
I definitely go on. Sorry, Bec. Sorry, Britt.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, definitely in the early years of my kids, I would say, I don't know how many sermons I didn't hear and how much worship I wasn't really a part of. But someone had said to me before I had children that it's about like setting a pattern for how your family does life. And so you attend not for what you're getting out of the service and not to chat to anyone either. You attend because it's the pattern of your family, and then you continue to grow in that pattern. And then over time, you get to participate again. But there is just a time frame in which you're just setting up your pattern. And I think having that in my mind helped me be like, okay, I'm not getting anything out of this, nor am I talking to anyone. But like, this is just what we do on a Sunday. And then it became a part of our family routine, and I did watch other friends kind of just not do that. And a lot of them, like, they either don't go to church or they go really sporadically or they're not connected in. And you're like, well, it's because that pattern isn't there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of just need to show up.
It's got to be more than just I want my church to serve me. And it's not, you know what I mean? It's good to receive service. It is. To be able to be like, okay, I'm in a season where I need help. But sometimes, like, it is good to just be like, okay, I might not be getting anything out of this, but yeah, it's like the grander vision of where you're going or what you're doing, or you're like, I'm just establishing a pattern of obedience. I don't know what God's going to do with that.
And you being there every single week is helpful for someone else who's struggling, but seeing that you're there every week as well, like going, oh yeah, they're setting this pattern, like, so can I. I think this, like, we've almost talked a little bit about it, but how do you guys think the gospel can speak into that feeling of loneliness? So for people who are feeling lonely at church, what assurance can they provide for these people?
I think the Bible really teaches us that we're part of a wider picture. So we're part of a church family in our actual church, but we're part of the entire body. And so loneliness is like it's a pretty awful feeling to feel. However, like, our feelings are just kind of communicating to us. So if we're feeling lonely, it's telling us we just need some more connection. And so then that's kind of what we want to seek with that, rather than loneliness. Like, I guess the natural inclination would be to want to withdraw, but like, we are actually to lean in. And in a church community, we can feel safe to lean in. And like Bec was saying, like, ask one person, they're not keen, talk to the next person, they're not quite your style. Like, there's always going to be someone that you can find in that church that you can connect with, and start slow. Like, we have the assurance of who we are in Christ. We don't need everybody to like or love us. We just kind of need to lean in and serve other people, and we will find our people in time, I think.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, it's that thing, if ultimately you're like, well, if your identity is like truly like, okay, God loves me, He knows all the worst about me, He loves me anyway, then it's almost a little bit freeing because it's not about like how many friends that you have or how you've come across that particular day or anything like that. You're like, well, that's not my worth, which means it's a bit free. It's kind of freeing. And you can trust that like He's designed you for community. Like even your very like mirror neurons, all of that, like your body is designed to be in community with other people, let alone all the parts of the New Testament.
Mm.
It is not good for man to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, if it's something, it's something like struggling with, is it we can actually ask God to help us in this part as well. Like, just asking God to actually help you make deeper connections at church, help you know what to do in those awkward times, help you to actually like encourage someone who's also feeling like that. And even like, I had a prayer answered when I was in high school and first became a Christian. I just like didn't have any close friends that were Christian, although I was friends with Christians. But I realized I just needed a best friend who would who would help me be a Christian because I didn't know how to be a Christian. And so and that friend is still in my life today. And just it's just such a like we can ask God for help in this area, even though it feels like we're supposed to just naturally get it, but it can be awkward and a bit frustrating. Yeah, that's the thing. I also look for think about when we're feeling lonely. It's also we're still in a broken world. We're still, we are united to Christ, but we can't yet see Him. And we're actually awaiting the day when we do get to see God face to face. We do get to be in the new creation and have that perfect connection with God and with our family, with our church family. And so that the best is yet to come. The loneliness doesn't actually last. And so I think having that future hope that it's awkward now because we live in an age where the good bit's coming but it's not here yet. With the broken world still hanging around. So we actually by fixing our eyes on the new creation and the community that we have there, praising God forever in an amazing place. There is no loneliness, there's no death, there's no crying, there's no disease. It's actually that's what's the best to come. I think that's a great hope that we have.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. So how can we in our church communities kind of be mindful of the struggles of the people around us? How can we rock up to church on a Sunday thinking about these people?
So I was talking to a friend recently who, has a lot to do at church, but she's quite shy. And what I said to her, I was like, look, mostly a person who's new or a person who's having a bit of a rough time, mostly just is happy that someone is talking to them. They are not going to compare notes with the 3 other people you talk to after that. They're not going to know that you're asking the same questions. To each person, you might have a structure, you might be like, hey, and whatever it is, those kind of 3, 4 questions. And then, have you met Ted? Introduce them to somebody else, have a conversation. Did you know you guys have this in common? And then you can leave, right? If you're mostly just, if you're new or you're having a hard time, you're just happy that someone's talked to you and someone started the awkward thing. If you're going to make it in a community, you kind of, there is a level of it's inconvenient, it takes time. But, the person on the other end of that is probably, you know what I mean? In different seasons, might be having a harder time than you, or it's just, you're just really happy that someone's talked to you.
Absolutely. It would be a sad day for someone to come and visit church and then just not get spoken to by anyone and leave feeling just it does happen, which is actually just super sad.
So it doesn't need to be perfect. It can just be ask 3 questions, ask 3 open-ended questions. Sorry, some other piece of advice is I got from my boss in child protection. So we used to go and do unannounced home visits, which are a special kind of hell. and he was really good with people, right? And you'd have to go talk about like some things that people didn't want to talk about, but he always got people talking. And I was like, how do you do that? And he said, look, I always start with stuff that they can already answer, stuff that they can tell you and be confident about, stuff that's going well, like get them feeling less nervous before you get to other stuff. So sometimes it's just, trying to find something that they might be interested in talking about. What do you do for fun? Or what makes up your week? Start from there.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone knows now. Everyone knows my question because of the podcast. So I'm like, great.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
Seeing my
They just
secret
answer it. You don't even have to ask it anymore. They just walk up to you. This is what I do for fun in a week.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not a personal like facilitation of deeper things, but it's a church thing. So at our church, every 4 weeks, so we have a rotating, because our church is a satellite church from the mothership. I think it's called a church plant, but I prefer
The mothership.
that.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. I came up with it myself. Anyway, so they have 3 weeks where we have a sermon, and then on the 4th week it's called the mic service. So it's a missions update, an interview, and communion. And those weeks, it's one of those things where you kind of go, oh, this feels like a bit of a filler. But every single time, those weeks are the best week, because it's usually someone giving a testimony. And the last 2 times that we've had it has been like a mature Christian, like a man. Both of them have been not old men, but sort of middle-aged men who've lived a lot of life, and they've given very like honest, transparent testimonies, and it immediately it transforms the room. And then the conversations after church are immediately deeper, because people are like, like it's just sometimes like sermons are great, but like seeing the humanity of someone else and their story and their vulnerability in front of the body, and then everyone is immediately on a deeper level as soon as church is done, because everyone's like, whoa, that was amazing. And that is actually really great. It works so, not that it's like a trick, but it does. It like cuts away so much of that small talky stuff, because people are just really moved. Yeah, so that's a good strategy.
It reminds you that church is not a production. Like it's not a consumer thing. You're not coming there to just like, receive your goods and go. It's actually like, having that sense of someone sharing is a deeper connection, that we're actually are a community. We're a community of people who are struggling to, to appropriate our faith faithfully, but are being encouraged every day, by walking the Spirit, but also by one another. So it's I think that's really helpful, because we've been thinking about, we went through wanting to put testimonies in, or just even like, hey, here's a little answered prayer spot for this person, and like, like putting those things in. We call it testimony spot, but we've been trying to think about that as well. And I agree, it really helps.
And they do, like we do, it's set questions, so they don't just like give you the floor. I mean, they do, but it's like, what was your life like before you met Jesus? How did you become a Christian, and what has happened since? And like the one we had on Sunday was a man I've known a really long time, and he had been a Christian his whole life, and he realized when he was 36 that he wasn't. Like, and it was just this amazing thing of like, I didn't know that about him. Like, that was 20 years ago, but and then it just like, it just stripped the veneer off everyone. Yeah, it was like the Spirit moved, essentially. You know what I mean? Like it just, and everyone, like you could feel it. Everyone around it was like, oh, this is what it's about. This is it. Like we are, he is the vine, we are the branches, we're being branches together. It just, it was, cool.
I just wanted to say, as like a total plug, but that's actually what I wanted for stories, was literally that, to interview people and just hear, I didn't do everything right, but God has been really kind. And I think sometimes just hearing that, like, not here are 5 ways to stop the boats, here are 5 ways to do this, to do that, become more productive, but just, other people, like God has been faithful to them, he can be faithful to me, and being able to see that, I just think it's really encouraging.
That's awesome. Yeah, Britt, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think often vulnerability begets vulnerability. Like
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
somebody is brave enough to just be a tiny bit vulnerable. Like I saw this in my Bible study last year. It was mostly male, besides a couple of females. And one week, one of the females just kind of in the prayer section was really honest about what was going on for her. And like one by one, every man around the table became very honest in response. And like it was just like such a beautiful, like you're saying, Rachel, it's like, oh yeah, we're all in this together. Like we're all part of this bigger picture. And people began to share really openly about where they were at, and in a very like appropriate, measured way. It's not like
Yeah.
people were kind of like losing it or anything, but it just was like a really beautiful experience to be part of, to be like, it
Yeah.
just took one person being brave enough
Mm,
to say like, actually, this is what I want prayer for.
mm.
Yeah.
And it gave everybody permission to just really seek what they were there for and ask for it. And everybody was able to kind of be in that with each other. It's just, yeah, it was a great experience.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's really encouraging to finish on as well as we wrap up today's episode. It's been really great to talk about the ways in which we can be more aware of the people in our community, the ways in which we can think about how we want to connect better, and also be encouraged to come alongside one another as the body of Christ, to connect, to serve, to actually commit to one another, not in a way that kind of seeks our own needs, but the needs of others. And if you are feeling lonely at your church, yeah, we just want to, we feel for you because we all have had our experiences too. But we do just want to encourage, persevere. The best is yet to come. Thanks for listening.
That's it from us, friends. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, you can sign up to our free weekly newsletter called Stories I Tell You at Dinner. So you get essays, poetry, podcast episodes, everything, photo essays straight to your inbox on Wednesdays from March through to November from Christian women in Western Australia. If you'd like that, the link is in the show notes. Thanks for listening, guys.